Greetings and welcome to the broadcast. I'm your host, and this is Prison News. Today we have a section on McGuffy's Readers. Very, very interesting. These McGuffy Readers are, if you can think, what was the United States school system like in the times of Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett before the Civil War. You know, there might have been a couple of kids out on a ranch somewhere. Some of them were on a wagon train all over the place. And sometimes kids got to some kind of a school, were basically told to memorize 200 words, and that was it. Now, McGuffy's Readers, it's estimated they sold about 120 million copies, were actually sold between 1836 and 1960. That placed them right up there. Now, the thing about McGuffy's Readers is the children were told vivid stories which they could remember, and each reader got a little bit more progressively harder. In fact, they were the very first textbooks in the United States to get progressively harder. Now, Henry Ford, the guy that started Ford automobiles, he cited McGuffy's Readers as one of his most important childhood influences. He was such a fan, he would have tons of the original. Now, not talk about copies, but the first edition McGuffy's Readers, he'd make thousands of copies and pass them out for free to people. In fact, you ask what kind of a book would get someone to tear your house down. Well, McGuffy's Readers, Henry Ford, when he got a hold of McGuffy's house, he tore it down and put it in his museum in Dearborn, Michigan. Now, one of the things we're going to do here, we're going to read some samples from the McGuffy's Readers. And we're not going to do the reading or the writing or the arithmetic. And by the way, they were actually told to do the studies on a slate with a piece of chalk. That's right. Between these stories, we'll kind of skip over it. The kids are supposed to write a little segment of the story on that chalk. Anyway, it says that the material in the readers was taken from writings which extol and they explain and illustrate things like virtue, honesty, charity, thrift, hard work, courage and patriotism, reverence for God, and respect for parents. So let's get ready to read some of these samples. Now, just so you know, on the bad side of these things, the so-called bad rap, is that they're cruelty to animals. Now, I haven't gotten into any stories that have any kind of cruelty to animals. However, back in these days, almost all the kids had a lot of animals, pets, and they also had horses. Sometimes they take a horse to school, maybe at 10 or 12 years old. So it was a different day back then. And also, in those days, boys were boys. They wore Levi's or pants. They climbed trees. They picked apples. They came in at recess. They shared the apples maybe with the girls and with the teacher. The girls wore dresses. They either played with dolls, practiced sewing, planted little gardens, gathered bouquets, herb gardens and things. Very, very interesting. And it was a place that really turned to give a nation kind of its moral fiber or moral backbone as well. So let's get ready and start and read some of these stories. Turn the clock back about 200 years. You're sitting in a little wooden schoolroom, a little bit of wind. You've got about a 1 foot by 1.5 foot piece of slate called a chalkboard, a little piece of chalk, and here we go. This is a fine day. The sun shines bright. There's a good wind and my kite flies high. I can just see it. The sun shines in my eyes. I will stand in the shade of this high fence over here. Why, here comes my dog. He was under the cart. Did you see him there? What a good time we have had. Are you not glad that we did not go to the woods with John? And then it goes into a slate where you're supposed to, write a little bit about it. Next. Kate, I wish we had a boat to put the dolls in, don't you? I know what we can do. We can get a little tub and tie a piece of rope on it and then drag it to the pond. This will float with the dolls in it, and we can get a pole and push it out from the shore. What a funny boat, Kate. A tub for a boat and a pole for an oar. Won't it upset? We can try it, Nell, and see. Well, you get the tub and I'll get a pole and a rope. We will put both dolls in the tub and give them a ride. Next. James and Robert have gone into the shade of a high wall to play ball. Mary and Lucy have come up from the pond nearby with their brave old dog Ponto to see them play. When they toss the ball up in the air and try to catch it, Ponto runs to get it in his mouth. Now the ball is lost. They all look for it under the trees and in the grass, but they cannot see it. Where can it be? See, Ponto, he found it. Here he comes with it. He will lay it at Lucy's feet or put it in her hand. Next. "Papa, may we have the big flag?" said James. "What can my little boy do with such a big flag?" "Hoist it on our tent, Papa. We're playing 4th of July." "Is that what all this noise is about? Why don't you just hoist your own little flags?" "Oh, they're too little, Dad." "Oh, you might spoil my flag." "Then we'll all join and pay for it. But we will not spoil it, Papa." "All right, take it then, and then take this coil of rope with it." "Oh, thank you. Hurrah for the flag, boys." Next. "See my dear old grandma in her easy chair. How gray her hair is. She wears glasses when she reads. She's always kind and takes such good care of me that I like to do what she tells me. When she says, 'Robert, will you get me a drink?' I run as fast as I can to get it for her. Then she says, 'Thank you, my boy, thank you very much.' Would you not love a dear old good grandma who was so kind? And would you not do all you could do to please her?" Next. "Here come Frank and James White. Do you know where they live?" Frank is riding a horse, and James is driving one hitched to a cart. They are out very early in the day. How happy they are. See how well Frank rides, and how tight James holds his reins. The boys should be kind to their horses. It is best not to whip them. When they have done riding, they will give their horses some corn or some hay. Some horses can trot very fast. Would you like to ride fast? One day I saw a dog hitched up to a little cart, and the cart had some corn in it. Next. It is noon and the school is out. Do you see the children at play? Some run and jump, some play ball, and 3 little girls play school under a tree. What a big room for such a small school. Mary is the teacher. They all have books in their hands, and Fanny is reading. They are all good girls, and would not be rude even in plain school. Kate and Mary listen to Fanny as she reads from her book. What do you think she's reading about? I will tell you. It is about a poor little boy who was lost in the woods. When Fanny has finished, the 3 girls will go home. In a little while, too, the boys will give up their playing. Lucy has a new pet. Do you know what kind of bird it is? Lucy calls her Polly. Polly can say, "Polly, Polly, poor Polly." And also she can say, "Polly wants a cracker." And she can even mew like a cat. But Polly and the cat are not good friends. One day Polly flew down and lit up on the cat's back when she was asleep. I think she knew the cat would not like that, and she did it to tease her. When Lucy pets the cat, Polly flies up into the old apple tree and will not come down when she's called. Then Lucy says, "What a silly bird." Next. These boys and girls live near the sea. They have been to the beach. It is now evening and they are going home. John, who sits on the front seat, found some pretty seashells. They are in a basket by his side. Ben White is driving. He holds the lines in one hand and his whip in the other. Robert has his hat in his hand and is looking at the horses. He thinks they are very lazy because they do not trot fast. The children are not far from home. In a little while the sun will set and it will be bedtime. Have you ever been at the seaside? Is it not good sport to watch the big waves and to play on wet sand? Next. One evening Frank's father said to him, "Frank, would you like to go with me to catch some fish?" "Yes, may I go with you, Father?" "Yes, Frank, let's go." "Oh, I'm glad." Here they are on the bank of a river. Frank has just pulled a fine fish out of the water. How proud he feels. See what a nice quiet spot they have found. Frank has the stump of a big tree for his seat, and his father sits on a log nearby. They like the sport. Next. I like winter when snow and ice cover the ground. What fun it is to throw snowballs and to skate on the ice. See the boys and girls, how merry they are. Henry has his sled and he draws his little sister in it. There they go. I think Henry is kind for his little sister because She's too small to skate. Look, did you see that boy fall down? But I see he's not hurt, for he got up laughing. Some other boys have just come to join in the sport. See them put on their skates? Henry says he hopes his father will get him a pair of skates and some for his sister next winter. Ellen, look at Fido. He sits up in a little chair with my hat on. He looks like a little boy, but it is only Fido. Now, see him. Shake hands. Give me your paw, Fido. How do you do, sir? Will you take dinner with us? Fido, speak, speak. Fido barks, which means, thank you, I will. Isn't Fido a good dog? Ellen, he is always so polite. When school is out, I will try to teach him some other tricks. Next. Oh, Hattie, I just saw a large rat in the shed, and old Nero tried to catch it. Did he catch it, Frank? No, Nero did not, but the old cat did. My cat? No, it was the other one. Do tell me how she got it, Frank. Did she run after it? No, that's not the way. Puss was hid up on a big box. The rat kind of snuck out, and that she jumped right on it and caught it. Oh, poor rat. It must have been very hungry if it came out to get something in the day. Why, Hattie, you're not sorry Puss got the rat, are you? No, I cannot say I'm sorry she got it, but I do not like to see even a rat suffer pain. Next. Mary and Lucy have come down to the beach with their grandpa. They live in a town near the sea. Their grandpa likes to sit on the large rock and watch the ships as they sail far away on the blue sea. Sometimes he sits there all day long. The little girls like to dig in the sand and pick up pretty seashells. They watch the waves, and as they roll back and forth to the beach, they break into white foam. They sometimes make little houses out of sand and build walls around them, and they dig wells with their small wooden spades. They've been picking up shells for their little sister. She's too young to come to the beach. I think all children like to play by the seaside when the sun is bright and the wind does not blow too hard. Well, folks, that's just some samples out of the first of the 6 McGuffy's Readers. This is the very beginning one just to get kids started. And you can see there's a little different component there. Now, as they become more advanced, there'll be more sentence structure, more moral teaching. And again, we must remember that these were given by like one person administered these McGuffy Readers. Also, I forgot to tell you during the introduction, McGuffy's Readers continue to sell 20 to 30,000 copies every year to this day. And for the elites, the very, very rich, those who really want their kids to become a full vessel and amount to something, McGuffy's Readers are often used as a tool by private tutors that tutor the elites. The foundation they build is stellar. They have moral backbone when you're done. You're real good at reading, writing, and arithmetic, and you stand for something when you take a McGuffy's Reader, as compared to perhaps some of the state-run schools that talk a lot about whale pods and watching whales and environmental studies and why there's certain racial tensions in certain areas. The McGuffy's Readers were much, much more than that and seem to deliver a much more well-rounded product when the child finally graduates. Well, speaking of graduating, these kids 200 years ago, this is how they learned. You talk about 2,000 years ago, and there was someone named Jesus Christ teaching kids here on earth. He was a historical figure and the Son of God. If you want to Google it, he lived right about the time of Antony and Cleopatra, about 20, 30 years span there, those two. And Jesus taught, in addition to teaching kids, he taught that you must be born again. Basically, you believe that Jesus died, he rose again, he's sitting at the right hand of God the Father, you'll be coming again. And if you can believe that part of his death was atoning for your sins, putting your faith in Christ, that's what they call the born-again experience, just kind of like the thief on the cross, that would be a 2,000-year-old lesson, and we would like to encourage you to take that on board as well. Take care, Lord bless. As time goes on, we hope to read a little sample of one of all 6 of the McGuffy's Readers. And if you want to look them up, they're called McGuffy's First Eclectic Reader. Take care, God bless, and bye for now.